Hi, welcome back to another episode of Coldstream Rod Shop. I'm Derek Fraser. In this week's video, we're going to finish assembling the 35 pickup bed box. We had made all of the wood in a previous video, so it should actually be just put everything back in and bolt everything back down. Sometimes it doesn't turn out that way, but I made it, I put it together, so it should actually go back the same way that I put it in the first place. So anyways, I'm going to get all the wood, all the pieces, and lay the metal strips down with some stainless steel screws. We'll put the cover back on, the tailgate back on, and everything else. And then hopefully over the next 2, 3, 4 days, the owner's going to come. He's going to bring the actual chassis here. We're going to take the bed and set it on the chassis. Then it's going to go up to the other shop that's actually doing the stretched 35 cab. Because if you don't know already, this 35 pickup bed that we made is actually 6 inches shorter in the forward section to accommodate a 6-inch stretched 35 cab, which is being done at another shop. So we'll get that sorted out, and then on Ellie's 32 5-window coupe, I'll keep on working on the floor and the tunnel for the transmission. Over on the Camber Lady's 32 Ford Roadster, we've got to redo the bottom seat, so we're going to tear all that apart, build the foam up to get the right shape, and do some cards on the back. So between those two things, that's going to take up all of the next video. We're going to try and do all of that stuff, but sometimes things don't go to plan, but that's what's on our list of things to do. So there's the wood in place. I got everything laid in, everything's lined up, but unfortunately the stainless steel screws that I bought were 1.5 on a 2-inch, so we've got to order some more. Furthermore, one of the things I'd mentioned before, when we use these stainless steel strips, they were stainless steel strips for another kit. We have some blind holes here, these square ones. We've got to put some small stainless steel bolts into them, cover them up. I don't know if the owner is going to buy some new ones and replace them later, but he wanted me to use these for now. So essentially in the back ones, we've got the right size bolts in place, but all the other main ones that hold it down, we don't have them. So ordered those up. They're on the way. We'll finish it off. And then for the tailgate, we've got the tailgate in place. Went on pretty much without a hitch. We had pre-fitted it and everything else. So got the hinges on the bottom and the stainless steel rod going across. Everything opens and closes. So all good there. So today back on working on Ellie's coupe on the floor. I was just getting ready to weld in the floor panels I made from last week. And I was actually trial fitting the brake pedal and the linkage. And then one thing I realized was that we altered the brake pedal as far as where the brake pedal went this way, clearing the transmission. One thing that I didn't notice was that the brake pedal arm, this arm was starting over here and then basically pushing, if you can imagine it, pushing it this, like from basically an engaged position, because previously it was, the arm was over here and it would start at this position and then it would toggle like this. So what was happening was that the brake plunger, this plunger wasn't, it never runs in a perfect straight line, but ideally you want to run it in as straight a line as possible. So what I've done is I cut this little arm off here. I cut it very deeply, made a very large wedge when I welded it. So basically the two pieces were like this when I welded them. So that, I mean, this is a critical piece. So you want to make sure you've got penetration all the way to the bottom and then weld it up from both sides like this. So you've got lots of weld. If you see any pinholes, dig them out and re-weld them, because you don't want to be messing around with a bad weld on a brake pedal. So anyways, the net result is that now the brake plunger arm is going to start in a forward position like this, and then as you press the pedal down like that, this arm is not going to do kind of like this, like it was before. Kind of hoping I explained that well enough, but essentially what happens was the geometry on the brake pedal arm, because of the way we positioned it, not because of the way it was made, but the way that it was ultimately got installed, we had to modify this to make the leverage more optimal and the traveling of that pin in and out of the master cylinder more in a straight line. Because like I said, before it would start here and it would kind of go like this as the brake pedal arm kind of toggled up. Kind of hoping I explained that, but well enough. But essentially that little arm basically had to clock from here to the start position to make it work better. That's the punchline. So fortunately the camera lady came here in the shop so I can better explain what I was talking about as far as the linkage on the brake pedal. So right now I've got the brake pedal installed. If you can see here now, this is the new position of where the brake pedal will start. So you kind of want it a little bit forward from perpendicular so that when I press down on it, it travels almost an equal distance. So you're not toggling, so to speak. So that is what I think is a much better linkage and leverage system and a travel for the plunger. Because now that the plunger is not, you know, as it goes in, it's not going up too much on an angle there. So anyway, that's fixed, we're good. So what I'm going to do next, I'm going to start welding in these panels. I'm happy with that. There's still some work to do up here on the firewall, but we'll carry on with that. We'll get the floor in here first, and then we'll tackle that next. Don't tear the mic off. It died. Cut. Yeah. Great fella coming. Do anything? So
we have to do a couple of openers, like introduction and stuff like that. So if it's parked right there, that's perfect. And they're gonna bring this vehicle in here.
Hi, just finished the clip for Maritime Machines, I think it's called. So this will be a TV show that'll be airing sometime in the fall on Eastlink, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know whether it's, when we find out, we'll let you know. But trying to make me a little more famous, I guess, for the local people, we'll see. If not, we'll just show what we're doing and how much fun we're having with the hot rod.
connection.
The soundtrack of your youth, right? You think about all those songs about cars, Little Deuce Coupe, all those good things. Hot rods, a lot of power, lightweight vehicle, and a whole ton of fun. We're on Maritime Machines, and we're going with the Ford Model A Coupe, nope, sedan. Here on Maritime Machines.
So this is the long weekend in May for us here in Canada. I think in the UK, the first weekend in May, you had a holiday, your bank holiday. I know there's one in the US too, but here in Canada, this is Victoria Day long weekend. It's usually when everybody gets their campers out, goes to the campground. For us, it's kind of usually the first time we decide to mow the lawn. I know it's got nothing to do with building hot rods, but it kind of has to take me away from building the hot rods. So today it was trying to get the deer fence up, half of it, mow the lawn. And then on top of it, we needed a new barbecue. And I don't know if anybody's built one of these lately, but it says an hour and a half in the instructions. And although I am very mechanically inclined, that sucker took me almost 2.5 hours to put together. So anyway, new barbecue, lawn is mowed, half the deer fence is up. It's a beautiful day. It's like 23 degrees Celsius, which I guess would put it in the low 70s or something like that. Right now, I think what the camera lady and I are going to do, we're going to grab the hot rod and we're going to go get an ice cream. Okay, we're off to get an ice cream in the hot rod and need to enjoy them. Might have to wait for it to warm up for a couple seconds, but oh, she's good. There's a bit of a future project. We're going to help a friend out here for a job on this. We'll show you when it comes back. But anyway, nice holiday Monday here. Hot rod visitor. I'm going to do a little bit more work on Ellie's coupe. I didn't weld the floor panels in yet because I was kind of wanting to play around with the transmission tunnel thing. Like I said before, one of the things I knew I had to do was basically get the original shelf off there. It was going to be kind of difficult to make a square tunnel out of a round one. I think it would just take up too much space if I try to do that. So what we're going to do is do what I've done on the other cars. I cut this raised section out of the firewall till it's flat. And then I'm taking a piece of cardboard to basically shape out or the basic shape of what the tunnel is going to be. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to keep on playing with this cardboard here and then transfer it over to a piece of sheet metal. Ultimately, I'll have this piece, but I'll also have to bring a vertical piece down from, a vertical piece down from the firewall to meet up with this. So there's going to be a weld across there. We'll have to fix that up from the other side when the body comes back off for paint, but we'll get it all cleaned off on the inside and get it prepped. Anyways, I'm gonna mess with that a little bit. We'll get something in metal here in a few minutes and we'll show you the next step and we'll keep it rolling. So here's a little bit more of the in-progress work of doing the hump around the firewall. It's a little more intricate than what I'm used to. One thing I had to do was start by patching this hole first to kind of get a shape in. Ultimately, we're going to drill a hole in there, but what I wanted to do was get the firewall kind of shaped right, get the floor in place first. I started working on this hump here, but now I've realized I've got to make kind of like this little recessed area in first, so just kind of fitting and shaping that. Ultimately, once I finish shaping it, we're going to weld her in place, but anyway, we're making some progress today. It looks pretty good now. I'll show you from the other side. Right there. One little tricky piece I still have to figure out is this little corner piece. In one way, I kind of wish this was just flat, but it's not. So I think what I'm going to do is take a triangle piece sheet of metal and kind of form that in and flatten it. Anyway, we're just going to try and work around with what we've got here and fit the sheet metal in. And if it doesn't fit the first time, we'll make another piece and fit it the second time. Okay, so got a little bit of it welded in here. Picked up the welding wire. I didn't know I ran out. I usually keep a good check on that. But anyways, this board section of the transmission tunnel is welded in. I've got to dress it up a little bit. Most of the plug welds, we're going to leave them, just going to wire wheel them because they're going to be covered by carpet anyways. Some of the areas where I'm going to make like a forward panel like this, what I'll do is I'll dress off the top of the plug welds here so that I can then drill holes like in this sample piece here that I'm cutting out. We'll put some holes in here and then it will sit flush down onto this lower panel and I'll plug weld it here. What I'm trying to do right now is I'm going to make the forward panel. There's a little triangle we've got to fill in there. So I'm going to add on a little piece of metal here that will flap up and cover this. And as well, I'll have another section here that's going to fold up and actually try and make this a little bit more airtight. There'll be panels here covering it. Originally, there was a lot of gap between the firewall and this quarter panel. A lot of air would fly in. And all there was originally was like a kick panel or something that would prevent some of it flying in. So what we'll do, we'll try and seal it up a little bit better. Ultimately, when the panels are done on the car and the welds are all done and prior to body work and stuff, every one of these seams will be covered with seam sealer anyways. So the floor will be nice and weathertight when we're done here. So I'm going to finish making this little cardboard cutout, put the flaps onto it. We'll cut it out in metal. We'll go over to the bead roller. We'll put a nice little X or something in the center of it, give the panel a little more rigidity. It's kind of for looks, but it also gives that panel the rigidity to it so it doesn't oil can or anything like that. So there's function to it as well. We'll get that done and hopefully I'll get the other one done too. So there's the next step of making that forward panel I just showed you on cardboard. Basically drew it out in a piece of 18 gauge. Did the same as what we did for the floor panels here. Marked out where the X was going to be, pre-stretched it on the English wheel. Right there without the rubber because we do want to stretch the material. So like in the past, I've used this rubber piece on the top wheel if I just want to impart like a shape to a piece of metal as opposed to actually stretching the metal or pre-stretching it. And then back over to the bead roller to put these beads into it, just straight, square. And then last and finally, on the ends, I just use this little punch die to round over the ends here. I mean, you don't really need to do it, but I kind of like to have that nice rounded look instead of having like the beads kind of just stop the way they do off the bead roller. So what I'm gonna do right now, I'm gonna drill some 30-second holes, use my Clecos there to hold that in place. Clean up the welds underneath there first, but drill some 30-second holes, put the Clecos in place, and then plug weld this all the way around because right now it looks like it's fitting really nicely. So there's the driver's side, kind of the same process as the passenger side. Right now, so far, I've got it kind of dry fitted in place. We'll go over to the driver's side and show you a little better. Still a little bit more trimming to do, but I think we're most of the way there. Got a little trimming, a little more on the top of the brake pedal. And the other thing we got to do is figure out where the steering column is going to go. So right now I'm thinking it's going to go right up in this area here. More than likely what I'm going to do is drill with a small, long 1/8 drill bit, stick it through, see where it comes out relative to the exhaust manifold, because I think he wants to run Lakester style headers. So we're kind of have to be mindful of that and trying to give him as much clearance as we can. But that panel is very close to being finished welded in. The other side got finished welded in. The hump is, we've got the sections around the firewall. There's probably about 7 or 8 pieces there we've got welded in so far, but making progress on it so far. Well, that's it for this week. Didn't get a whole lot done on Ellie's coupe. We kind of got a lot done, but it just not physically big stuff. A whole bunch of small stuff on the floor. The 2 floor panels, the panel that goes over the hump, fixed the firewall, the section that was cut in, which is, that's all good, but that's as far as we could go. As I said earlier, a lot going on here on the property this past week. We had a film crew here for all day Saturday shooting an upcoming episode of something called Maritime Machines. It's a local channel here. The show will air locally, I think, sometime in November, and then be available on YouTube sometime the early part of next year. When we get that link, we'll forward it to you. We had a lot of fun driving the cars, a lot of people here, a lot of questions, a lot of talking, and a lot of sun. The camera lady and I were out in the hot rod, I think 5 times. We had like 3 ice creams and 2 hamburgers, so it was all good. The weather was fantastic. Today was 32 or 33 degrees Celsius, which is like high 80s or early 90s, low 90s, that is, in the Fahrenheit scale. Grass grew like a crazy, so it's like that was mowing session here, and like I said, we had to put the barbecue together, put the deer fence up. None of that stuff has got anything to do with building hot rods, but unfortunately it took me away from doing some of that stuff. At the same time though, the 35 pickup bed is still here. I keep saying it's going to leave, and eventually it will leave. However, there's a new ask on this. The owner is going to bring the chassis in, which has, I think it's got a Hemi, early Hemi into it. I'm not sure if it's a chassis we worked on before. It could be, but he wants us to put the cab or the box on the chassis. Because this box was shortened 6 inches, we're going to have to drill some holes for where this is going to fit, because it's not going to fit the stock holes. And then we have to make up some bolts to fit it in, and a couple other small little things. So it's not gone yet. The Camera Lady's Roadster, we're picking away at some of the stuff on the upholstery, like we said, but we really can't show you anything just yet. We'll show you something next episode. And then we're waiting for the ceramic coated headers still to come back. The folks that are doing them, they told me it was going to take 3 weeks. It's not quite 3 weeks yet. So fingers crossed, we'll see those next week. So anyways, that's it. We did work on a 32 5-window coupe this week. We showed you what we did, and we're going to keep on working on it next week. So come on back next week. See what we get done on Ellie's coupe. Hopefully that chassis will be here. We'll be able to show that to you, and then get the box on the chassis. And then again, whatever we can get done on the upholstery on the Camera Lady's Roadster, we're certainly going to pick away at it, because it's hot rod season. So anyways, that's it for this week of Coldstream Rod Shop. Please like, share, tag, and subscribe. Come on back next week and see what we're up to. Everybody take care.